Hello, hello, hello. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. This is a Tournament of Stars. That's the league. Tournament of Stars Div A match of Equilibrium versus DSC. I think that stands for Dark Sea Corsairs? Yeah. I'm ToS, and I'm joined with my wonderful co-caster, Bowser.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Alrighty, drop one. Everybody's locked in. This is the 1v1 of Trial Summoners. For those of you who have never played the Trial Mech, I really gotta say, UAX without skills, oh boy, that is a test of patience right there.
It will be interesting. Both builds are double UAC 10, aren't they? With no
Yeah.
skills at all. No
Yep.
jam chance, no cooldown, nothing like that.
Yeah, I really feel like this is going to be an RNG decided match. Just whoever gets the better RNG jam.
I actually would agree with that, absolutely. I'll be curious to see if these guys try and play range or if they don't want to mess around with RNG, so to speak, and if they just end up pushing. Because summoners are very good at pushing, pretty much regardless of those.
Now, one thing I am going to point out, though, is that these Trial Summoners have 42 legs. So I've seen a very common strat among these players of... or among other players trying to, because I mean you can just double tap, strip a leg's armor.
Absolutely. And summoners are notoriously easy to leg due to how large the legs are in proportion to the rest of the body.
Yep. G-Ram is going for the high ground, going to be trying to just, oh no, Hollow's going for the high ground, my bad, trying to just poke over the top of it. G-Ram seems to be going for the same ramp on his side, just going a little bit slower. Oh, Hollow dropped, interesting. It's always fun to watch those cheeky shots on factories to try to shoot through the grates and whatnot. G-Ram's spreading his shots a fair amount. I'm not sure which component he's going for yet.
Just a bit of posturing for position right now. I think it's pretty clear neither of these guys want to actually push each other. They want to get in the range damage. High mounts, pop tarting, decent range. I believe there's a range work on this summoner too. We do see Hollow pushing now though. A little bit of damage. They're still both above 90%, so it's still anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, right. And right now it's just chip damage. We're not really seeing them able to prioritize components at this range, you know. The burst fire plus, you know, these super tight pop-tarting angles, I'd be really surprised if somebody lands clean shots throughout the entire thing so far. But let's see. Hollow...
Hollow's...
taking the high ground, I think. I think that's his... oh, nope, he's not. He's just going to stay at the middle level.
He is losing by about 10%, though, to GM. Almost 10%. So GM is quite a bit up in the damage trace at this point in time.
It looks like G-Ram's going for legs. Not sure.
I think it'd be in Hollow's best interest to actually push GM at this one because he's not necessarily really winning the range trades.
Yeah. G-Ram jumping up to the middle level, getting more shots in. Hollow loses his arm, but I believe those arms are empty. Yeah. G-Ram jamming up, probably going to sit down for a few, waiting for his UAC to unjam. Nope, he's still taking shots, even though he's jammed. Even though he's just down to one UAC. That's sort of one thing, is that I really feel like if you jam, you need to stop trading entirely, because then it's just one UAC against your opponent's two. And you definitely don't want to take that trade. Hollow's trying to get a little more aggro in on G-Ram here.
So we do see a brawl happening. Hollow is down quite a bit of percent though at this point. He's catching him a little bit with G-Ram.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's still 59 to 72. The damage spread looks relatively even between these two guys.
Yeah. No one's really prioritizing any component.
But Hollow's left torso is just about open. It's basically down to structure at this point. Whereas G-Ram is... the damage is actually really spread on G-Ram.
Yeah.
If G-Ram gets a good burst, if he realizes Hollow's left torso is basically open, he gets a good burst, that'll almost take it off in one go.
I don't like where Hollow is right now. The low ground beneath this rail. Oh, the back shot.
But it only takes his arm, interestingly.
Yeah.
Oh, he seems to be losing track of G-Ram.
Yeah.
Yeah, G-Ram rears that left torso, and that's a really good burst. His left torso is just about off. He did double jam. Hollow's not taking advantage of it. You can see when someone jams in the weapon feed, And
think Hollow's
he's
just a
pushing
little
now,
bit-
but it's too late. It's too
I think
late.
Hollow's just getting a little too tentative, I guess, because of the damage he's taken. However, Hollow's been doing a wonderful job keeping that open side alive. He somehow hasn't lost it yet, but ooh, getting a nice little cheeky shot there. G-Ram
Decent,
working really hard to get
a
that
pretty
side
good
off.
shot, but
One thing I'm gonna note is that both these mechs are actually running
even.
very low on ammo. Oh, Hollow
oh
gets
yeah,
half.
36 shots left for Hollow. I don't even think that's enough to finish G-Ram.
Nope.
And G-Ram is down to 63. That will be enough to finish Hollow because he's
Yeah.
much up in damage at this point. I believe this one's going to G-Ram just because
Yep.
Hollow doesn't have enough ammo to actually kill G-Ram.
Yep, Hollow's not even shooting back anymore, just doing his best to stay alive.
It looks
Hollow's
like his
straight out,
UAC was
straight
destroyed.
out.
Yeah, it looked like his UAC was
Okay.
destroyed. And there we go.
Wow. That was a slow burn. Talk about a incredibly drawn out fight. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up these stats.
Yeah, we can see the damage trade. G-Ram 426, Hollow 317. I think when Hollow was starting to lose the range trades more, he should have just pushed and been aggressive sooner. Like, he caught up pretty good at the very end. He kind of caught up in damage. If he had done that sooner, I think it could have played in his favor.
Alrighty. So, that is the 1v1 completed, and now the 1v1 are trial mechs. This next 1v1 is, or 2v2, sorry, is going to be on Steiner Coliseum, and it is a assault and a light mech. I'm gonna be honest, my favorite part of Tournament of Stars has always been these 2v2s and trying to theory craft the best builds for it, given the map and weight class restriction. If you ask me, that is the absolute best part of Tournament of Stars. So I don't know about you, but Assault and Light Mech on Steiner, that really feels like Spirit Bear and like Kip Fox and like just run it down with DPS.
I haven't theory crafted this too well, to be honest, but I think there's a good possibility for Laserfalman and or Daka because there's enough range to close, or sorry, there's too much range to close in Steiner. It's a lot of open ground. You can flank one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit more of a toss-up.
Yep. And of course, you're not allowed to recycle players. So we have Royal Star and Sir Epic Poner on Team 1, and we have Chicken Man and Tovarich on Team 2. Tovarich, I'm like 95% sure I'm saying your name right. If I'm not, just let me know. And Team 1 has locked. Oh, I forgot to get y'all the stats. Yeah, Hollow getting 317 damage, G-Ram getting 426 damage. Like, yeah, it's just, that's not something that happens in an instant. That's something that occurs with just G-Ram slowly and steadily winning his trades throughout the entire battle. Alrighty, both sides are locked. Let's get to it. 125 against 130. So I'm inclined to believe both sides are bringing 100 tonners, unless like maybe it's an executioner, and then 25 tons. That's what, a Mislinks and a Kit Fox.
I would not be surprised if we see double heavies at all.
No, we can't. It's assault and light mech.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
These are actually weight class controlled. Okay, so let's see what both sides are bringing. Direwolf and Ebon Dragoon, Direwolf and Incubus.
So you were right.
But I wasn't right about the Incubus though.
Interested to see what the Dyers have. So we have Royal Star's Incubus, 2 Heavy Large, 5 LMGs. We have Chicken Man's Mislinks, 4 SRM 6. We have Epic Pona's Direwolf, 5 AC5s, 2 PPCs. And we have Tavares' Direwolf, also 5 AC5s and 2 PPCs, just with a slightly different arrangement. Interesting.
One thing I'm going to note here is that while that Ebon Dragoon will do a great job against will do a great job against the Dire Wolf. That Ebon Dragoon is going to spread way too much against the Incubus, meaning that the onus of killing Royal Star has fallen almost entirely on Tavares' Dire Wolf.
With the Dire Wolf's low mounts and bad convergence, could actually be really difficult. I actually favor DSC's deck here, actually.
Yeah,
however, we do see Chicken Man closing very aggressively, very close with that mislinks.
Chicken Man doesn't have the Overwatch of Tavares yet, which means that if he overextends, he might get slapped down by the Dire and the Incubus. Oh my god, look at the opening damage so far. Tavares is getting hammered.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically...
Tavares is already open side.
He's trading 2 versus... Oh, yeah, and the mislinks is there, too. Survey opponent has taken pretty good damage, though. The mislinks is orange left leg.
Oh my god. Tavares is about to get halved.
He is about to get halved.
Chicken Man needs to help alleviate.
However, Epic Boner's almost dead. Epic Boner's he's done. He's gone for it.
Oh my
goodness.
It's
the Incubus versus the mislinks, and the Incubus is just in mislinks SRM range, not really kiting. This is going to be a problem. This mislinks is really high DPS. His left leg is...
Incubus is like...
It's gone.
Wow.
And this one will go in favor of VQ.
This is not what I expected at all.
Kill, but he's not going to get it.
Oh my god. Wow.
That mislinks just has so much more DPS than the Incubus. I was a little concerned when I saw light machine guns. I don't know if that is enough DPS.
Oh boy, that was not
I like the mislinks play, and we see that with the mislinks actually doing a little bit more damage than Tavares' Direwolf.
You are right. Holy crap. All right, this next one is a medium and a heavy mech on Liao Jungle. And of course, you're not allowed to recycle players in these drops, so that means that EQ has played G-Ram, Chicken Man, and Tavarovich, so now they're coming in with Shine and Ghosty. Alrighty, and then Dark Sea Corsairs is subbing in Sir Ramrod and Indian. Alrighty. Wow, just looking back at the damage though, Sir Epic Poner with the 415 damage, I really thought he was going to get the early kill on Tavarovich. I 100% thought Tavarovich was just going to get instantly halved and then eliminated. I was very surprised to see that turnaround. Alrighty, so Dark Sea Corsairs coming in at 130 tons. That's what, 65, 55, or
it's
no?
Medium heavy, you said?
Yeah. So what could be a 65 tonner and a 55 tonner? Could be a 45 tonner and a 75. God, the Night has been such a popular pick here. But I could see them just running it down with, like,
and we see, speaking of running it down, Shine Plasma and Ghosty are 110 tons. They're 20 tons lighter. I wouldn't be surprised to see if they run it down. I would be really surprised if people bring a Nitro to this map, because it's so easy, if anyone played this map on Slayers, to just run people down. 2v2, 1v1. It's a very easy map to just walk at people. And I expect that's what we're going to see EQ do. It's possible Dark Sea Corsairs did bring a Nitro, but I would expect that to die very quickly to a rush from EQ here.
Yep.
And we do see that Indian, is that how I say his name? Is in a Nitro with Sir Ramrod and Stormcrow. Decent deck on paper, but
against a summoner
is an Arctic Wolf.
Yeah.
And they have full SRM Arctic Wolf Summoner. I would expect that to win 9 times out of 10. We'll see how this goes. I'm immediately favoring EQ.
Yeah, no, the name of this game is Dark Sea Corsairs has to cripple a mech before it gets into brawling range. If they're not able to do that,
they have seen what's happening. The Nitro did pop chart. He knows they're getting run at. This Stormcrow needs to be careful. He's going to get 2v1'd. He's going to get 2v1 here. He's currently getting 2v1. He's kiting away from his Nitro teammate. He's kind of blocking line of sight. This isn't good. His leg, I believe, is open. I can't tell, though.
His leg is not open yet. He's trying to run back.
It's kind of devolved now. Okay, now the Arctic Wolf is in between two of them. He needs to be careful. I don't know.
Yeah. They
He's
swapped targets
almost halved. He's nearly dead, actually, this Arctic Wolf. This Arctic
Ghosty's
Wolf's nearly
actually
dead. There he goes.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
1v1. Summoner with 4 Sturm 6.
I don't-
Easy 10 Jeer. I think the Jeer wins this.
I think so too, because the Jur just has to take his arm off. I think so.
The Jeer's open legs.
I'm not sure why Ghosty isn't shooting.
Server crash. Everybody crashed. Oh no, Ramrod crashed. Ghosty's still in. Or not Ramrod, Indian's still in. Indian just crashed.
Huh. Yeah, he's just rotating in circles. He very clearly crashed. Do we do a redrop on that?
I don't know. It's offered at the onus of EQ. If they offer to do a redrop, then DSC can take it up. But if not, they're not obligated to. Once the fight and the shooting starts, whatever happens sort of happens. So if EQ offers it, then yes. But if they don't, then they're not obligated to. So really, Shine and Ghosty did offer a redrop. And yeah, DSC just took them up on it. So yep.
I think there's not too much to talk about that match. I want to say DSC would have won that because, again, one hit on that summoner's arm, and he's down to, I believe, a single SRM6 in that left torso, and then one more hit, and he's stripped completely. So I think it's a little hard to take off that job. But one thing I did see, though, is the Arctic Wolf ran in ahead of his summoner partner and was getting 2v1 for a non-appreciable amount of time.
The biggest thing about the Arctic Wolf is that the Arctic Wolf needs to not be the tip of the spear. The Arctic Wolf needs to bait his teammate while he comes in for that single tremendous back shot. And that's pretty much how Arctic Wolf...
It doesn't necessarily have to be action. I don't really agree with that. The alpha is so high on it, especially against something like a Nitro. He could easily just run in from the side while the summoner's tanking from the front and just absolutely crush.
Mm-hmm. Alright, both sides locked, Julio. Yeah. I don't know. I really feel like in a run it down scenario like this, weight is key. And yes, the summoner does have more alpha, but I really feel like something like an Orion 2C that just infinitely tankier would be the better pick. But let's see. At that point, it's just splitting hairs. We do not see a drop deck change from either side. Okay, so
I still favor EQ, but as we saw in the last game, they need to actually coordinate that rush so they're both pushing at the same time.
How the teams need to improve this. Ramrod needs to stick with Indian and not take early damage. Ghosty and Shine need to prioritize a single target and run it down together. Shine cannot run in alone and get insta-gimped. Alright, Indian taking a much more proactive approach, running in. Ramrod going in, same plan from him. A little surprising. Shine running off to the side. Is he gonna go for the back shot on Ramrod? Oh no, Ramrod knows it's there. Ramrod's immediately legged.
And he did the same. They did the same thing again in the last game where the Stormcrow was ahead of the Nitro by quite a bit.
Ramrod's not getting.
He's
Ramrod's
not dead though, and the summoner's
though.
crippled.
Nitro's legged. Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
That is it. Wow.
EQ's rush was much more coordinated, and more importantly, again, that Stormcrow, those opening volleys just make or break the game when it's 2v1 like that. We saw last week on the Empyrean versus, who did they play? 5JDX. On the 2v2, there was a Huntsman, a Spirit Bear in Mech Factory, and the Huntsman just took tons of early damage for no reason, and he just died. He was dead just in the snap of an eye because they got multiple 2v1 salvos on him. And the same thing happened here. Exact same thing happened in that Stormcrow. If you're getting 2v1, your teammate has to be able to take advantage at the split second, and that wasn't the case here.
Yep. Alrighty. We are moving on to the actual, or not actual, but the primary games. This week is Tourmaline Desert is the 200-ton drop. Okay. And remember, for those of you who are not familiar with Tournament of Stars rules, it is a single cap that cycles. So the single cap for Tourmaline this time is Theta. Alright, time mode, 12 minutes, that's right. And then while we are waiting, let's take a look at these match stats. 268 damage for Ramrod, 213 for Indian, 207 for Shine, and 277 for Ghosty. Now, one thing I'm immediately going to point out, though, is that the Summoner took the brunt of the damage this time around instead of the Arctic Wolf, which is the way it should be played.
Yes. So, I think there's a few ways you can play Tourmaline. Tourmaline has always been a map that rushing and being aggressive has been an option, but I think with Theta Cat, we're going to see these teams elect to play more skirmishy because cat pressure is actually going to be really difficult to apply because it's going to be difficult for one team to get Theta over the other, which means you're going to have the whole map to just run around and get damage on. So I honestly expect both of these guys to kind of be doing that. I expect to see Vipers, Incubuses. I don't know if we'll see much bigger mechs. It's a 200-ton drop. I would kind of be surprised, but Vipers and Incubuses for sure. LMGs, ahoy, pretty much. LMG is the game, skirmishing the game. I would be surprised if you see anything different, but if we do see a rush, it could work.
I could see like a mix of LMG Incubuses and like a few HMG Vipers for just unchallengeable DPS for when the brawl happens.
I worry that if, for example, one side takes a rush over the other, these teams are locked up very fast. They know what they're taking. It's very good. But if one side rushes and the other doesn't, I think it'll actually be kind of hard for the rushing team just because they're in fast mechs, but their opponent is also going to be in fast mechs. So it's going to be kind of easy to kite.
Yep, and I mean,
we will
there's
see
only
as
a
we
single
drop
cap
in here.
point. Yeah, and there's only a single cap point, so running out the timer, kiting for cap win isn't really an option here. If you ask me, the single cap point in Tournament of Stars is more than a formality than anything else. It's a 12-minute game. There's no way you cap win with just one cap. But triple Incubus, 2 Stormcrows, and Darksea Corsairs. One thing I am going to point out is that this is the Incubus 1. That is the Brawl variant. Yep, quad MPL, quad HMGs on these Incubuses.
So the Stormcrows are hybrid laser. I actually like that Stormcrow build a lot coming from Chicken Man. Or actually, no. Chicken Man's in a Gargoyle. I'm sorry, from Darksea Corsairs, like Fire Ant, for example. Use 2 large pulls, 4 ear mediums, and 6 micros, I believe. Something like that. And I actually really like that. That's like a hybrid alpha style brawl rushing Stormcrow build.
Meanwhile, looking at EQ, Viper, Incubus, Piranha, Gargoyle. Piranha scares me. Piranha puts out a lot of damage, but that is the least tanky mech in the game. You look at it and it dies. And in this sort of knife fighting drop, that scares me.
I think the Piranha could be really strong, actually. Its burst DPS is absolutely insane. We see Sir Epic Poner pretty much the same Stormcrow build as his teammates, Fire Ant, Royal Star, 4 medium pulse, 4 HMGs. That is, as you said, a brawling Incubus. Good intuition on that. Indian is also in 4 HMG, 4 medium pulse. I actually think that Incubus build is very strong. I think that's very, very, very high burst coming from that Incubus. The Gargoyle has, what is that, 10 micros, 11 micros, and 4 ER larges all in the torso mounts. I like that a lot.
Yep.
Interesting. Incubus
One thing we're going to see is that a little bit of Lasvon pokes going on right now, but if this Gargoyle sets up in Gulf 4, he's going to be unchallenged. He's going to be able to farm early damage for free.
So EQ has an Incubus 1 and an Incubus 5. Both pretty much are hybrid range DPS, so they have 2 heavy larges, 4 HMGs, and then a micro pulse / a small pulse. Dubix's Viper has 8 LMGs, 5 ear mediums.
God, the
I believe that is...
now.
I believe that's everybody's builds covered. Yeah, DSC doesn't have the range to contest with the gargoyle, really.
But for some reason, he's walking in, though.
DSC got Theta, which means cap pressure is on EQ to push. And in theory, DSC has a better deck to receive a push. In theory. It does look like EQ is moving up slowly with their gargoyle. They have to push for that gargoyle. That's a lot of tonnage.
EQ's running in. EQ's running in. EQ is called the push. Chicken Man in the gargoyle is going to lead and take the brunt of the damage.
Yeah, he's getting focused quite hard. But he's not taking too much damage. He's still not at 80%.
Primo's is about to get caught out.
Super hurt.
Primo's and the Incubus getting caught out on stage.
That Incubus
Chicken Man taking so much damage. Chicken Man's just running straight in and getting 3v1'd.
He's going to go down very shortly here. I would expect him to be the first to fall. There it is. That's not good for EQ's chances, but I think they're trading pretty well. You Fire Ant, 51% red. Indian and the Incubus, 66% red. That means they're both probably nearly dead.
Stormcrow one-touch CT. Somebody just needs to get some solid burns. There we go.
Nyander self-destructs in the Incubus.
No.
Oh, no.
Primo's caught out in the open, 3v1ing. Shine gets legged.
That's bad. So that's basically a 2 versus 2. Shine goes down, but Royal Star is 88% in that Incubus, almost completely fresh.
I think Polycat's about to clutch, though. I think Polycat's about to.
The Piranha DPS is going to be really good here. But she's going in. Okay. Dubix is following up. She's kind of extending past Dubix. Dubix got to push up here. He is. The Piranha's just about dead, though. That Piranha's nearly dead for EQ.
Indian is tanking like a god.
And
oh, that's
Royal
why
Star
they're not going
fresh.
for Indian's legs.
Royal Star's still fresh. Oh, no. Dubix has to kite at this point, but they are probably fast enough to catch up, and they still have Theta. EQ was not able to take Theta as they were walking through it, which means this whole time Dubix is going to spend kiting. DSC is going to continue getting cap points.
Yep, which is why DSC seems to be backing off. One thing I'm going to point out is that with 5 ER meds, Dubix can outpoke anybody that remains for DSC. So if he just wants to poke and get those LMG vomit alphas, he may be able to play a little more proactive and win this. But actually, how's Dubix looking health-wise? He still has armor everywhere.
He's very fresh. Even though he's down to 69%, it's pretty much spread damage.
Royal Star's one-touch rear. So if Dubix gets a cheeky poke, he might actually be able to pull it out. One thing I'm going to note is that once all mechs are dead... Oh, no! Dubix is looking the wrong direction. One thing I'm going to note, though, is that once all mechs are dead...
Dubix's leg is open. Dubix's leg is open, I think.
Oh, he's legged.
He's legged. Oh, the DSC mechs got him in a really good crossfire.
He's hyper-focusing too hard on Indian. It's not enough. Indian's coming back around. I think he's going to go for another pass.
Dubix doesn't have a UAV. Really should have a UAV at this point. This would save him a lot. Royal Star's going to try and come in his rear. And Indian's just going to use the cap point to hide. Dubix is doing a good job, basically turning and shooting what he can, but it's a 2v1, and he is legged. And at this point, Indian's Incubus, who is still not laid, can kind of just put ring around the rosy until his teammate Royal Star gets a better angle.
Royal Star is out of HMG ammo. I'm just going to point that out. He's down to the quad MPLs, which is why
Which is very meaty, though. Quad MPL is still good. That's still a high alpha.
Dubix is almost out of LMG ammo. But Dubix, I'm a little concerned about how this plays out.
As soon as Royal Star commits, I think Indian comes on the other side and Dubix dies.
Ooh, that's a
they're taking these
trade.
they're taking these 2v1 fights. I think they just need to commit.
Royal Star's almost dead though.
They honestly need to commit to killing this Dubix Viper, and there they.
Ooh,
it wasn't a commit, but they did get the left leg finally. There it goes for them.
That was very slow and very. It got a little shaky there at the end, but very well played by Dark Sea Core.
EQ's push was very questionable. They sent their Gargoyle way ahead of everybody else. The lights did not properly follow up, and the Gargoyle was the first to die. That's not what you want to see. You want to see everything pushing together, and we do see that Chicken Man Gargoyle, only 157 damage. If you're investing 80 out of your 200 tons into a mech like that, it can't be doing 157 damage. It has to be doing a little bit more effort.
Yep, and then, at the end there, Polycat was not running a DPS build. Polycat was running an Alpha Strike build. So I think if Polycat avoided running in and just poked down those mechs, I think she could have 2v1'd.
I think yes, that's another thing too, is Polycat kind of ran in 2v1. Dubix wasn't really there with her. But more importantly is that I really think they were too early on the push. I think they had time to play around, maneuver, and abuse the fact that the Gargoyle outranged everything on the field. Or at least they should have realized that it outranged everything on the field.
Yeah.
And they needed to take advantage of that, and they didn't. They pushed too early, I think.
Alrighty, next up, we are on Solaris City with the cap point Epsilon, which means it's going to be out in the far city, part of the area of the map that's not really played. This is 300 tons. So there are a few options for this. If you ask me, the best option is just summoner spam, run it down, SRMs. I've seen 4 Novas and a Kodiak work out really well. Just the Novas with small pulse and then a Kodiak 3 giga slapping everything. But I really feel like 4 SRM summoners, and then that's what, 280 tons, and that leaves you a Piranha. 4 SRM summoners and a Piranha. I really just feel like that beats everything else.
Piranhas, I don't know how I agree with that, but I would say that is in theory a strong deck.
Yeah.
And I would say some sort of like medium, light, heavy spam in theory would be nice to see, and I think that would probably stand a good chance of beating that. But Summoner SRM is probably the go-to, just because, maybe the go-to, I should say, just because it can jump. That's a big deal on this map. I played it a little bit myself, and being able to get on the buildings, being able to maneuver around the buildings is really important, and you can't really do that without JJ's.
Yeah,
DSC readied up extremely fast.
Yeah, that is one thing I'm going to say, is that a lot of these buildings around the Epsilon cap, which is where the fight's going to take place, they're about 1 mech tall. They are about the height of an Annihilator, which means that verticality is huge here. The ability to jump off of the streets and get on top of these buildings and get those cheeky shots is incredibly powerful. So I would be very surprised to see a ground-bound deck from anybody here. I also would be surprised to see any like assault mechs here, just because I feel like we're gonna have a repeat of what we saw in the last drop of just the assault mech. It's just so much of a risk if it gets caught out and focused down, and then you lose so much of your tonnage. That Gargoyle was 80 of their 200 tons last drop. That is a huge amount to lose early on.
We do see both teams are ready up here. I don't know if I agree with that so much. I think the bigger issue is you have a disconnect between the roles of one person and the roles of everybody else, as well as the fact that it's only 1 mech, which means, for example, if a team's pushing through the buildings, if that 1 mech isn't getting its damage on target, you're losing the game every second it spends not getting damage on target, and I think that's easy to do on a map like this. Very fast turnaround between these matches. Definitely makes it easy to cast, that's for sure. We like to see it.
Oh yeah. I love it when teams like just have everything out. Quad Summoner and a Piranha on EQ.
So for DSC, we have a Summoner, 3 Shadowcats, and an Executioner. I really like this deck from EQ, actually. If I was going to take any assault, it would certainly be an Executioner, and they've done that.
Meanwhile, yeah, so Equilibrium
my game crashed.
is just running... Your game crashed?
Yeah, very not good. My game did crash.
Here, I'll stream on Discord.
Stop any hostiles that get in your way.
There you go. So at least you can see from my point of view. So let's go through the builds real quick. Summoner... Hollow Summoner on Darksea Corsairs. It's actually ER Peeps and Smart
I think
Pulse.
that's actually very strong. I've been told by people that you should only run SRM Summoners in this map. I don't agree with that. I think the ER Peeps and Smart Pulse Summoner is very strong. You have strong range presence, strong prop turn, and you have strong DPS. There isn't really a reason not to run that, but we do see EQ running these SRM Summoners that you mentioned, a lot of them too, We see DSC Shadowcats, LMG's Laser Vomit. They have a range deck. EQ is a rush deck. Be very curious to see how this plays out.
This XC, 2 peeps, 6 small pulse, and then a lot of micros. That is the peak executioner meta for this map. One thing to note is that Fire Ant Shadowcat does have HMGs instead of LMGs, but I
think that will benefit him. I think that will benefit, or them rather. I think it will benefit them in this match.
EQ is running in on the inside of the city.
DSC does have the cap, but they need to be careful not to get caught up, and they need to be careful to fire lenses. They are getting some early damage, not a huge amount right now.
Yep, and they are all pulling out back towards the outskirts of the city, trying to get as much open ground as they can.
They're closing relatively scot-free, though, in EQ. That's concerning. Only one summoner's below 90%. Okay, 3 of them are now, actually, but
Neonder's getting focused out hard in her summoner, and she's not cycling out. She's staying to lead a charge. She's open side.
Ooh, I don't like that. I think you got to cycle out when you're getting hurt like that.
Epic's caught alone. Epic's legged. Xy's legged. Xy's about to go down. Xy goes down. That is not a good start.
And that is the focus fire from those summoners coming into play. They have so much burst damage, and that Executioner can't kite as well
Indian's
as the rest
completely
of the
out of the fight. These Shadowcats are 100% split. EQ can just kill the two as they please.
Nyander is halved in the summoner. EQ is taking a lot of damage. I am back in this lobby, which is excellent. Hollow is almost legged.
Darksea Corsairs is just too spread out, though.
I would agree with that.
They needed to stay together.
Yes, I would agree with that. Ghosty is nearly dead in the summoner.
Gets hollowed down.
At this point, they just need to play for kills. They need to play for as much points as they can. Indian, the Shadowcat, overheating quite badly. Needs to be careful not to blow his own leg off at this point. Though it doesn't matter. The Piranha does get Indian's leg off.
Yeah, and then Royal Star is currently 3v1ing against these summoners. They're all damaged, but I don't think
Polycat running in on the Shadowcat, and it goes down. I think that is going to be all she wrote.
Is that what, a 5 to 1 kills?
5 to 1.
Now, I don't think that was a mech lab loss. I think that was just poor execution. No pun intended. But, you know, I really feel like if Darksea Corsairs faded towards the open ground on the outskirts of the city, like out here towards the river, and they stayed together, they would have been able to gun down these summoners on approach. I feel like the biggest mistake Darksea Corsairs made was getting themselves spread out into all these different roads, and they can't all shoot the same target. Because, I mean, look at that. EQ, 4 of their mechs are in the red.
I think it would have worked out better for them if they had been kited a little bit further.
Yeah.
Much better for them, I should say.
Yeah, let's actually look at how some of these mechs are feeling. Polycat, oh yeah, you look at that, that's dead. Maybe tank a little. Tovarovich, just fresh, 100% fresh. Neonder, breathe on her and she dies. Jubix is faring a little bit better, but definitely not great. Yeah, it's just too much damage spread. And you know, even if you focus fire and you don't win the match, you still get those extra kills. You still get those extra points calculated at the end of this match. I really feel like it was just poorer execution on Darksea Corsairs' end, but I feel like these decks were very balanced between each other power level wise. Which is a little sad. I'm always willing to, like, I always love to see teams, like, you know, get that true range power in, but EQ just running it down.
And unfortunately, we see a similar situation as with EQ's Gargoyle and drop 1. Strike Poner's Executioner only getting about 1.5 full Elvas, only 124 damage out of Executioner. That's not what you want to see when you're putting 95 of your 300 tons into a single mech.
Yep. And then looking at the EQ spread of damage, it's just a very even damage spread. Everybody got in everything that they needed. Yeah, I really just feel like the spreading out was the final nail in the coffin. Alrighty, next map. We have a side swap first, my bad. Next map, we have Viridian Bog Theta. I love Viridian Bog. I love playing this map in comp. It's one of my favorite comp maps. Oh, that is Vitric, not Viridian. Wrong V map.
It's 400 tons for this one. So we could see a glut of heavies, or we could see a bunch of assaults.
Yeah, I mean, you could run something like 3 Kodiaks and then, you know, 2 50-ton mechs, or like a 55 and 45. 3 Kodiaks, Vigo Shadowcat. That's a deck right there. But
I'm not sure why you'd bring Kodiaks. That seems a bit questionable. I can't see why you'd bring Kodiaks over like Executioners. These teams have not spent their Executioners, and unless they're planning to do so on drop 4, which is very possible, I don't know why you wouldn't bring like 3 Executioners. EQ, for example, hasn't brought a single Executioner. I believe there's a chassis limit of 4, so they could bring 3 Executioners here and still leave 1 for the last drop. I would expect something like that over Kodiaks. I'm not sure why you'd bring Kodiaks. I would think you'd see even Dire Wolves here, actually. I would think Dire Wolves would be decent. I don't know. It's hard to say. I would maybe you see like Spirit Bears just running down. I believe the cap on Viridian is Theta. Yes.
Yep.
Which does mean there is a potential to play CQC.
So you say Spirit Bear, but drop 5 is Terra Therma Crucible. That is a run it down map. I would save all of your Kodiaks to just spam Spirit Bears and then a single token XC or Gargoyle.
Right. All the more reason why you're not going to bring Kodiaks to this drop.
Yep. You're right. I don't know. I feel like heavy spam mid-range is really the proper play here. I really hate to say it, Laser Vomit actually feels really strong here. Maybe some Madcap Mark 2s with like quad AC5, 2 ERP, something like that. I don't know. There are a lot of options here. I really feel like the running it down brawl isn't the proper play here.
It very well may not be, because again, if these teams decide to take Executioners, the versatility is you don't have to. They're effective in all measures of combat.
Yep, and then one thing I'm going to note is that the Theta cap is at the lowest point in the map. It's not a very advantageous area to play from.
We do see EQ locked very quickly. Again, these guys, they're making a habit of running up very fast. I like that.
I love it when teams know what they want to do beforehand. Let's see, 395 tons. That feels like 400 tons. And oh wait, no, never mind. It's not the 500 ton. 395 tons.
Probably an even split with an XC is my guess. An even division of tonnage like 4 75s and an XC. 4 Timbers, 4 Nitures, something to that effect.
Yep. And yeah. Theta, even though it's your only cap, it's in a very weak spot in the map if you don't want to brawl push. So what I'm going to expect to happen is maybe no mechs get Theta. Maybe you just go for the power spots in the center, and you just plan on killing them all before caps become an issue. Like single caps, 12 minutes. There are many times when caps just feel like a formality, and that you can totally play without them. I like that 7 badge on Sir Epic Poner. What's that badge from?
That looks like either Solaris 7 badge or like maybe the Charger number 7 badge. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because
maybe
because the N7's colors are purple and green. That's probably it. I don't know. I'm just looking through these badges now. Viking badge. That was one of the booster packs. EQ running the quad Desperata badge.
I respect it. Weaves out. Represent.
Neander is not running a Desperata badge, but she's running the Hatamoto Chi, which is no, not the Hatamoto Chi. It was the Japanese mech, the House of the Rising Sun.
All right, DSC is locked, also at 395. Interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see 100-tonners. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we don't see 100-tonners here, just because of how the allotment of tonnage is signing out here.
Alrighty.
All right, so EQ, I am proven wrong. We see 3 Kodiak 1s, a Hunchback 2C, and a Shadowcat Prime from EQ. What do you see over in DSC?
You are right. Quad Night Gears and an Executioner.
Interesting. Okay.
These Night Gears are running Gauss ER large. The Jade Kite is running 6 ER larges. Ooh, that's spicy. And the Executioner is running 3 ER peeps and 10 micros. Alrighty.
So DSC, their Nitures are like all Gauss ERs pretty much. That's
Except for the
I think
Jade Kite. That's 6 ER large,
yeah.
but yeah.
I think that's pretty questionable. I actually question that very heavily. I think this map is an easy map to push on, and EQ brought a good deck to do that with 3 Kodiak 1s. Those Kodiak 1s have very high alpha, and they are reasonably tanky, especially compared to 4 Nitures.
Yeah,
I would reckon 3 Kodiak should out-tank 4 Nitures most of the time. We do see a
And
little
for
bit of
those
early
who don't
damage
know-
going in. Chicken Man down to 90%. His left torso did take a dual Gauss shot, plus MER large burns. It's almost orange. But EQ, they're just going. They're sending it. They know probably that they have the better alpha, and they just have to go for it. I think this GRM Shadowcat, he's taking a bit of damage, especially just right leg. Good early damage from DSC. But this GRM Shadowcat is going to be pivotal for getting side shots on these Nitures. Nitures die very easily being flanked, but DSC does have a good spread of crossfire here. They have Indian all the way to the right in the D6. They have 2 guys in D7, including their Xe, and they have 2 in E7. However, this is a vulnerability. If EQ can exploit this, they could potentially get 3, 4 people
getting
shooting
caught in the
2
open,
on
taking
once.
serious damage.
And there it is, just as prophesized. He took a ton of damage on those like 3 versus 2, 4 versus 2 type situations, which is exactly what EQ wants here. All their mechs being laser vomit.
EQ is just walking in. They don't care. And for those who don't know, the Kodiak 1 has medium laser HSL. So that 1 Gauss, 2 large pulse, and 7 ER med packs an insane alpha strike.
DSC has pulled back. They're all able to shoot 1 target, but EQ hasn't taken too much damage yet.
EQ's about to swing around the corner. They're about to wide swing with double Kodiak.
They're in range at this point. This execution of
Almost getting
Surabic Poner, he's
destroyed.
caught between a Kodiak and a Kodiak. Hollow is down. Basalt does shut down. But Surabic Poner blows up half of his mech trying to kill him. That Executioner, way too hot from Surabic Poner. He knows he's going to go down. That's it, but that doesn't matter. There goes Surabic Poner and his Executioner. And Fire Ant, open CT, 1 shot in the Nitro. This is going to be a steamroll for EQ. They just brought a better deck. All Gauss large, very questionable in this format when you can take mechs fast enough as EQ did to close. And they have a single mech to receive that, and it's probably going to be a 5-0. They might be able to kill Nyander here. Indian doesn't get it. Niner is 1-shot CT, trying to shield for life.
Running
they
in.
don't get
Ramrod's
it.
putting everything on the line, trying to get the kill on Nyander.
And they don't get
it.
it. Perfect shooting from Nyander. Cherry red, not giving up those points, and that's just a roll. That is how I would expect teams to play this map. And you just take a bunch of squishy Gaussian large Nitros, you're gonna die when you get walked out by losers.
DSC would have done better if they brought AC10 ERP Nitros.
Much better, but I think the play was Laser Vomit Cheers. I think the play was a Laser Vomit Xe and Laser Vomit Cheers. I don't think sniping is the play on this map because Theta is a low ground cap, and had EQ wanted, they could have pushed all their people into Theta, taken it, and held it, and forced DSC to push them with Gaussian large into Laser Vomit. A disastrous play. And as we see, the damage numbers for DSC just not very good. The 2 Nitros, 170, 198. You don't want to see those numbers. Even the Executioner, your biggest mech, 278, not great. Meanwhile, a really good spread of damage, mostly all around for EQ, except for Chicken Man and his Kodiak. Pretty much all the rest over 350. And that's what you want to see in that situation.
Also, your boy just did a radio cast. Let's go. I hate my life.
Yikes.
Oh well. Sorry, folks. Won't happen again. Drop 5. Terra Therma Crucible.
So, last drop, we only saw 1 Executioner get taken from DSC. So they have 2 Executioners left. EQ is all 4 of their Executioners left. Given that the Executioner is quite literally the best mech in the game, I would expect to see Executioners come out from both sides at this point. I would expect to see all of the Executioners come into the field at this point in time.
Darn, I'm a little sad because now EQ can't run a bunch of Spirit Bears, but let's see how this goes. You know what? For those of you who were unable to watch the last match, everybody, I just want you to know, the moral of the story is Basalt forgot Override. You don't ever forget Override.
I don't think that really matters, considering
no,
a DSC player and his Executioner also blew up half of his mech trying to take advantage of it and ended up getting himself killed. Meanwhile, Basalt didn't even die. So I don't think that really matters in the grand scheme of things. It's ultimately about who plays worse sometimes.
I'm
and
actually
in that
really
situation,
shocked he
that was
didn't
what
die.
happened.
I'm really shocked he didn't die. But you know what? Even at the end there, when it was just Nyandere being like one touch and Ramrod putting everything on the line to get it.
All right, we do see the teams taking more time to ready up this time. I think there's more to think about. DSC, I think, has some options. I think if I'm DSC and I see EQ hasn't played a single Executioner, I'm expecting to see multiple Executioners. For sure. That's a given. And I would expect to see a counter response. DSC does have 2 Executioners. Like I said earlier, I would expect both of those Executioners to be played. How you're going to respond to 4 Executioners versus 2, I think that's very difficult, especially on a map like Terra Thermal Crucible. I have played it a little bit myself, unfortunately, and it is I would say it's pretty Pop-Tart dominated, actually. If you're not going to rush the center, Pop-Tarts get a lot of free damage between the rocks. There's a lot of backwards facing terrain behind Theta, all around Theta, I should say, and we do see EQ is locked at 480 out of 500. I'm not going to try and do any fancy math here, but I believe
it's
4 Executioners. Four Executioners. I'd be surprised if they don't bring 4 Executioners. I really, really, really strongly feel that way. And the math does work out to be 4 Executioners and a 100-tonner. So I'm going to bet money, metaphorical money here, that they are taking 4 Executioners and a die. I'd be shocked, shocked, shocked. These guys know the power of the Executioner. Everybody should in this game at this point. And I would expect to see it come from EQ. They haven't played a single one. And like I said, if I'm DSC, I'm expecting this. And as far as DSC is concerned, they're having to fight against 4 Executioners. I don't know. Like I said, I think without your own Executioners, there's a couple mechs I can think of that are fringe picks, fringe counter picks for Executioners. But on this map, especially, where you have distance to close, I think it's going to be tricky for DSC. That's for sure. And we see them at 455, all readied up. They're throwing 45 tons on the table. They are locked at 455. I think they realize they are aware of what they're up against, I think. They're very keenly aware. I'd like to see they pull out of their pocket. It's my guess, anyone's guess as to what they're going to pull out. All right, and as not quite as it's perfectly as I prophesized. EQ is 4 Executioners and a Direwolf.
Darksea Corsairs, quad Kodiak, and a right. What do you? A rival?
I don't hate that. That's kind of how you fight Executioners, is you take a Pop-Tart, the Pop-Tart's better than them. Well, I don't think the rival is the pick. A lot of teams like it. A lot of teams think it's very strong. So if they think it's going to out Pop-Tart Nexi, I think it very well could. I actually like that pick a lot. It has the speed to get flanking shots on the Executioners as well. That could be how you beat them. And the Kodiaks will out-pinpoint and outgun the Executioners. So I actually like this deck from DSC quite a lot.
I'm just gonna point out that there are not, despite its appearances, this map is not near as range favored as many people think.
So if we look at the minimap real quick, something you should take note of. DSC's 4 Kodiaks are still on Sigma. EQ's Executioners are already in the middle of the map looking for targets to shoot. This could be good or bad. I want to say this is bad because it's giving EQ the ability to move around the map, and that's what's going to kill these Kodiaks.
I'm a little concerned, though. It looks like the Kodiaks are going to take center. Center is not where the Kodiaks want to be because these Executioners will be able to flank and get around and hit them from all angles. Taking center is not where you want to go.
I'm not sure I agree with that because the Kodiaks tremendously outgun those Executioners, and the only way they're going to win is they must take the fight to these Executioners, and the only way they're going to do that is pushing. So I'm not sure I agree with that, actually. These Kodiaks have twice the damage of these Executioners, so they can tank these opening shots no problem. They are taking quite a bit of damage, though. There is one Executioner very heavily on the flank here. I can't really get a name read out.
Neander is alone in center right now, getting pushed by Hollow.
The Kodiaks, Ninder's taking a lot of damage.
However, Basalt's now going down to Bear on the Veagle. Hollow's going to take a lot of damage before he can get around and escape.
These Kodiaks are pushing from DSC, but I feel like
drops.
these Kodiaks are slow. I'm not sure. I have to look at the speed of these guys.
That being said, though, one player who will not be able to rotate away from the Kodiaks is Basalt in his Direwolf. As soon as he's caught, he's gonna be fighting 4 Kodiaks.
So these Kodiaks from DSC are roughly 58 to 60 kph, the 4 AC10s, 2 PPCs. Interesting. I'd have thought you would have wanted to go... Oh, actually, I take that back. Some of them are 1 PPC. They are taking Theta. That's good. I don't know if they're going to get it. They do get it, just barely. They do get Theta, but Primaz is kind of in a crossfire here. He's getting good damage out, but he needs to be careful. He's pushing off the cap. Neander is pretty hurt in that Executioner CT. If these Kodiaks can get a little focus, again, the firepower on these Kodiaks is quite heavy.
Yeah.
They just need to be able to push.
One thing I'm going to point out here is that Equilibrium has to play this perfectly. They have to push, feint, all that every time. All it takes is a single slip up for a Exy to get just mollywopped by this quad Kodiak push. So
I would say DSC's is down quite a bit in percent right now. The Executioners are playing it pretty textbook. They're kiting, they're pulling angles, they're doing everything they can. This Direwolf from Basalt is in big trouble, but DSC's just taking a lot of damage for it. They really are taking a lot of damage for every move they make. Every inch of ground is just blood, sweat, and tears. At this point, though, Neander will go down. Basalt is going to go down soon, but Primaz is going to go down soon as well. But Chicken Man and Tavares and his Executioners are still fresh. Neander's the first dead. Primaz shortly afterwards.
I still think this is leaning towards EQ. I'm not sure, though.
I would agree. I still think this is in EQ's favor. However, Chicken Man is 62%. Those Kodiaks just annihilated him. Tavares, the percentage. They're swinging in favor of Darksea Corsairs, actually. Those actually just took a couple really bad trades just a moment ago. They were high.
Hollow dropping down, getting the kill on Ghosty. Basalt is now getting caught in a 3v1.
Basalt is 3v1. He's dead, too. There's 2 left, 2 versus 4, but EQ or DSC has 3 mechs in the red. Sir Epic
Varvich
Poner
drops
goes
Sir Epic
down.
Poner.
But it's a 3v1 right now. Tavares almost needs to get in the fight, I think. He's getting flanking shots. on
Varvich
these
gets the
guys.
leg on Hollow.
That's good, but not what they need. The Executioner in the center is getting
Tavares
focused down pretty heavily. I think he's halved.
Tavarvich falls. He's coming in to close. I do not like the play of trying to close against the Kodiaks.
Oh, this Executioner is just getting hammered. He is able to escape, though. I'm not sure if
Tavarvich is
DSC didn't get a
halved.
finish. Yeah, no, he's just closing in for free while his Execution teammate kited away. This isn't going to work.
Tavarvich is
not gonna
going to
work.
fight with
If
a
they-
single small pulse.
It's too late. It's too late.
Confusing.
It's much too late. If they had any chance, they needed to take
Chicken Man
it.
is down to 3
2
small
versus
pulls.
3.
Yeah, that's over. DSC wins.
DSC does take this drop.
Holy shit.
They will take it momentarily.
Actually, I don't know. I don't know how hurt everybody is. Like, maybe 3 small pulls is enough to clutch it out.
I can't look at a clock.
Indian
It's
wins.
not going to be, because his Kodiaks is still full firepower. This rival is still full firepower too. It still has both of his arms.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. They might get an extra kill. Probably not.
No,
I'd
they
be
won't.
surprised. Rival does miss a shot, and that's it.
Wow.
That
Resources.
that is how I would expect. Honestly, I like DSC's deck. They took exactly what you would have needed to counter Executioners, in my opinion. That's how you do it. They did it right. And we see the damages. Royal Star is Kodiak 836. Indian is Sir Epic Poner 630. Prima's, unfortunately, only 329, but he kind of got focused. But the rival getting in so much work, 727 damage in that rival as the lightest mech in the match. He did well. He did very well. Just looking around, seeing as he was floating, seeing as he was all the movements he was making, I think they were almost perfect. He's putting pressure on the dial when he need to. He's using his speed to float around, help his Kodiaks even. That was very almost perfectly played from DSC, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, EQ just needed to screw up once, and then those Kodiaks can bear down on them, and that's what happened. Hollow did a beautiful job with his because he had what, 2 ER peeps and 3 HMGs, swinging and bearing down on that on the Direwolf, and then Tavarovich's XC there at the end. Like, he did a beautiful job trying to leverage that extra DPS in the brawl push. And that is all the drops. I'm trying to think. The 1v1 went to EQ. The 2v2 went to DSC. The second 2v2 went to EQ. Drop 2 Solaris went to EQ. No, drop 2 Tourmaline went to DSC. Solaris went to EQ. That's a pretty even split of drops.
I believe EQ is ahead in points off of having won the 1v1 and the 2v2, and the one they won 2, and the 2 they won were very convincing. They were like 5-1, 5-0. Meanwhile, the ones DSC won, DSC Tourmaline, they only had 2 mechs left, and this one they did lose a mech. So I believe EQ is ahead 10 or 15 points, just quick math, something like that. But close series, very close series, and I props to DSC on that last match. That was perfect.
And
they read
the
Executioner pick perfectly.
Yep, this was the last drop of today, actually. So, thank you everybody who tuned in. Thank you so much to Bows for helping me co-cast.
Thank you for having me.
And that is all she wrote. We will see you next week for week 4. Take it easy, folks.